Hi, it's Vinny, and today I wanted to talk about something that has really been on my mind lately, and basically that I've been seeing people on my Twitter feed talk about, and I've just been staying silent. And by silent, I mean seething inside because I really don't know how to approach people, and I'm really not one for conflict. I like to avoid conflict at all costs because I would much rather just, peacefully exist in my own life, and especially if this is someone who's not really important to me, maybe they're an acquaintance, where I just kind of like to sit back and just like cringe inside. But this is just something that really made me angry, and I was so close to blowing up on Twitter without mentioning any names and being all passive aggressive. But I decided that instead of making passive aggressive tweets, I'm gonna make a passive aggressive video. Alright, so I obviously know that this person doesn't even know about my videos. No one's actually watching my videos, I mean, let me be real. But, there's one thing that's been going on, and now like as an artist, even though I haven't been active, a lot of my classmates, my former colleagues, they are within their industry, in the comics industry specifically. And there was this situation that happened where this one woman, who I don't know, who was making a comic that she had take place in Japan, and she herself was not Japanese. And apparently, she got some kind of feedback, comment saying, like, hey, we don't feel this is exactly right for you to be writing this kind of story because you yourself are not Japanese, and we feel like this is yet another, like, oh, Japanese are just all about anime and we're so weird and cool and mystical, and it kind of feels a little bit like, misrepresentation. So this person, they ended up actually pulling their comic down, and I don't know if it was reluctantly or not, but they did it. They thought, okay, I would rather not hurt people's feelings and do something right than just do something that I want to do but have it hurt people. Like, they didn't want that. Now the thing is that this person's, I guess they're friends with each other, and this person that I know who I'm having the issue with is was a former colleague of mine, and we're not close, and she doesn't really mean that much to me at all. But sometimes I look at her tweets, and it just really grates me, the things that she says. And in this particular instant, she decided to go on this long kind of rant about how I am so sick of people asking for representation that when we finally give it to you, it's not good enough. It's like, why do I even bother doing this? We're not gonna get anywhere by, whining and complaining about, oh, we want representation, but you didn't do it right. It's like, not everybody's perfect, we're all problematic, we make mistakes, blah, 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 blah. So she went on this long thing about how basically, like, to what I took from it was, I'm so upset that people are criticizing me. How dare you talk about that? And the thing that really, just really, really, really tests me about that kind of thought process is the fact that it's like, oh yeah, people want representation. But you know what they want and how they want it? They want to be able to represent themselves. They want you to take your position of power, your position of influence, and raise the voices up of these people who are talking about themselves, their lives, and their experience. They want you to help them have a platform, to get other people to listen to them, not for you to take their voice, their experiences, and basically lift your own self up and then you get a pat on the back and a praise saying, oh hey, look at how progressive I am, look at how great I am for making this story. And it's just like, like, when I heard her saying these things, I'm just like, I'm like, you're dead to me. Like, I know it was just so, like, it was so drastic, but it was like, that was the first thing I thought about. It's like, you're dead to me. Like, how can you say something like that? It's like, don't you know that there are people who want to represent themselves, but they can't because they're not allowed in. They can't because no matter how much they try to get into these industries, it's like, oh, you're not what we're looking for. Oh, you're not part of our demographic. Oh, you're not good for our target audience. And it's like, all right then, so what do we do now? And it's like, like for me personally, do I feel great when I'm watching a show or reading a book or watching, a movie or whatever, and I see someone who is has some kind of aspect of me, that's a part of me, whether it's like, whether they're Latina, whether they're black, whether they're bisexual, maybe they're non-binary. Like it really like makes me happy, and I know that sometimes some of these stories are created by others who don't have that life experience, that's not their reality. But the thing is that when you do something like that, that takes a lot of research and a lot of like willingness to be open to criticism. It's like once you start writing about somebody else's life that you're not a part of, you need to understand that you're going to get criticism, and you need to listen, because sometimes it's like, sometimes I know it's totally innocent. You could be writing a story where you think like, oh, maybe this like represents the average like trans woman like narrative or whatever, and actually what you're really doing is portraying stereotypes. And it's like, you're gonna need that trans girl to like call you out and say like, hey, actually that thing is kind of harmful, can you not do that, can you not say that? So it's like, I don't get it when, certain people who are trying to tell stories about, others whose experiences they don't live get extremely defensive about being criticized. It's like, well, what do you expect? Like, you're talking about me. I know what it's like to be me. You don't. So it just really made me angry, and it took a lot. It took a lot for me not to just go at it on her and be like, listen, like I know it sounds like you want like a cookie, like a reward for having a trans character in your comic, but you know that still doesn't negate the fact that when a trans person tries to get a comic into the industry, they're kind of like basically laughed at or shot down and be like, we don't want those stories. We don't want you to tell these stories. And it's like, you got to see that you're in this position where it's like people are going to take you more seriously over the people that you're actually writing about. So please, like, please don't try to tell me, like, oh, why are these people like, oh, they want representation, but then when we give it to them, they don't like it. It's like, you're not giving me anything. Like, it is not a privilege to me to be able to be heard and to be seen. I'm like, no, like this is my life. These stories belong to me. This is my narrative, and I want to tell it. I don't want you to tell it for me. I want to get to a place where everyone will be able to tell their own stories and their experiences from their perspective, not through the filtered lens of another individual, not through this like kind of like trickle down, this person is filtering it through these lenses, through these glasses, blah, blah, blah. Like, I want it in the purest form, straight, seriously, straight, direct from the source. And, I'm really, like, I'm not about that sort of very, like, entitled, kind of whiny attitude where it's basically like, hey, it comes across as, hey, I'm doing you this great favor, you should be thankful. And it's like, no, like I'm not going to be thankful for you for being decent or for deciding that you want to now consider me a human being. Like, no, that's not being like I'm not going to be thankful for that. Like you don't get a reward for that. So like, oh, and that's something that I really see obviously outside of comics. I see it like for people who do TV shows, movies, literature. But it's really like, I'm sorry, you need to stop with like, you need to take a step back. If you're writing a narrative where you are creating a character who not only belongs maybe outside your gender, but your race, maybe outside your own culture, but maybe it's just like completely has nothing to do with your own reality. You have to understand that is something that you need to put a lot of research in. You need to go out there and you need to collect actual information from people who do belong to that group. Like if you're looking to make a character who's a trans girl, you need to go out there and you need to talk to trans girls. You need to see this kind of perspective of what it's like to live in this person's shoes. You can't just like base a character off of stereotypes or off of hearsay. Like you gotta go straight to the source, and you need to be very very careful and very thorough about this thing. You can't just take it as like, oh hey, I did this favor for you, you should be happy that it even exists. Because no, like, forget you. So, yeah, like, I don't know if anyone else is bothered by this, but it really boils my blood. It's like, listen, I'm not asking you to write characters about me. I'm asking you to let me write about myself. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to get off my chest today, and I hope some of you guys can kind of sympathize with that notion where, other people are trying to think like they need a special star for including you in their world, but, well, I'm gonna end it there before I can go on forever. So, thank you again for taking the time to watch my videos, and I hope you enjoy them, and I'll see you next time. Bye!